Hey there, do you want to learn all about an index function in Microsoft Excel? If yes, then this video is absolutely for you. Do watch it without the fail. In this video, I'm going to explain the easy steps to use the index function in MS Excel. I will take you through complete steps in constructing the index function from scratch. And all this has been done using a very simple data which will be very easy to recreate and understand. And also, you can easily get this exercise file downloaded in your system using the link provided in the description of this video. So go ahead, watch this video completely and practice this concept in the exercise file provided to you and become the master of it. Hello everyone, welcome back to this Microsoft Excel tutorial journey with me on my Knowledge Factor YouTube channel. This is session number 122 and we are learning the Excel's lookup function in Microsoft Excel. During this exercise, we are going to take a look at two specific lookup functions. Now, we actually just looked at a couple of lookup functions in our previous videos, right? We looked at the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP. If you have missed watching those videos, I provide the link here at the top. You can go ahead and watch that video as well. So great, very common, a little more advanced just because there's few more arguments and you are potentially working with different worksheets, but very common lookup functions, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. Now we are going to look at two other functions. We are going to look at the index and also we are going to take a look at match functions, two separate functions, and we'll look at them individually first and then we will look at them nested together in sort of combined together, right? Now, why are we looking at these? Well, like I said, VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP are very common, very common, but you know what? There is two other functions called index and match that can do something very similar to the VLOOKUP, but they don't have the limitations that the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP has. So what's this all about, right? Well, this is why we are going to take a look at the index and match function. The VLOOKUP has some limitations. Let's take a look at that limitation first and then we will jump back here. So I'll just hop over to VLOOKUP worksheet. Remember this one? First name was already done for you, last name we did that together. If you have missed watching this video, then the link is at the top, go ahead and watch it. And hopefully after that video you would have spent some time here and done a little bit of practice and did the same exercise for the department and pay rate, right? If not, then I would recommend you to do some practice on this exercise and populate the value for the department and the pay rate. Okay, so remember, you can always go back to the video, rewind and rewatch that portion and take a look at what this function is all about. Well, a big limitation that the VLOOKUP has, I'm going to click into C3. I'm going to open up the FX window, the argument window. So the first thing here is the lookup value, right? We want to get the first name or last name or department or pay rate, but we have to give the VLOOKUP something to look for, right? I mean, that makes sense. I want to find a first name. Well, which first name do you want? Well, in order to do it, we give it an ID such as the employee ID, right? So we have provided cell B3. Now here's the limitation. In Excel, the VLOOKUP takes cell B3, it jumps over to the table array which is on the master employee list, and it's in cell A1 to I38, but in order for it to find the content of B3 1054, it jumps over to the list and it goes to the first column right here, and it hops over here and says, well, I'm going to look for the ID here, and that's its default behavior, the first column of the list, right? Well, what if employee ID was not the first column? What if I did this? What if I put the employee ID in the middle of the list, right? Well, if we told the VLOOKUP that this was the beginning of our list right here from A1 to I38 or whatever, it would go into the last name column and go look for that ID. Well, that ID is not there, right? So then we would have to start our list over from here, right? So then we would have to start our list over here from C column. But the VLOOKUP, it's great. It would find it, right? But then if we told it to find the last name, it would be like, well, where's the last name at, right? It can't look to the left. The column index num cannot be negative. It can't go over here and look, right? It has to be positive number to the right. So that's the limitation. VLOOKUP is great, again very popular, very commonly used, but that's a pretty big limitation. And in order for me to work inside this list, I would have to move the employee ID all the way to the left, which may not seem like a big deal, but then you're changing the structure of your list. That might mess up something else within the list, right? So let me undo it first, get the employee ID back over there, or I'm going to hop back to the index and match function worksheet now. So that's a pretty big limitation, right? Plus the VLOOKUP, it's very resource intensive. It's not very fast. It's actually a pretty slow function. So if you have got hundreds of VLOOKUPs in a workbook, your workbook is going to chug along every time that needs to calculate. So something to be aware of. So this is why we are going to get into the index and match to overcome those limitations. But other than that, the index and match function together, get them merged together, and they do something very similar to what the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP does for us, just without the limitation. So let's take a look. We are going to take a look at each of them individually first. I have got column C and column D to do that, and then we will do them together inside column F. Alright, so first the index. Well, what does the index function do? Well, the index function returns a value at a specific position in a list. So we have got two worksheets here we are going to work with here. We have got the index match function worksheet, and then we have got the this one, index match master employee list worksheet. So think of this list right here as just a big index, right? It's just a bunch of columns and rows of data. So that's all it is, right? We have got letters along here at the top, but imagine those are numbers. Column number 1 2 3 4 5, row number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, right? And it's just a big grid. It's a big index of data. Well, the index function will allow us to find a value at a specific position in that range of data, in that index of data. So let's say I want to know what's at column 3 row 10. Okay, so looking at the index here, what's the column 3 row 10? Well, column number 1 2 and 3 and row 10, Linda, right? So Linda is at the third column, row 10 of this data set. That's what the index function will do for us. Let's try it out. So I'm going to hop back here to the index match function. I'm going to go to the cell C4. I'm going to type this out. So I'm going to say equal index. Now there are actually two different flavors of the index function. We are going to use the first one. It's got 1 2 and 3 arguments, right? So it wants to know where's the array, right? Where's the collection of data, where's the index of data, and then it wants to know which row num, right? It wants to know like which row you want to search, and optionally which column do you want to back from the array of the data. So to make this a little more visual, I'll hit the FX button here. I'm going to select the first one there and just hit OK. Alright, three little things. So first thing was the array. Now an array, the collection of data, can be a single column, a single row, or multiple columns and multiple rows. So I'm going to click into the array. I'm going to go over to the index master employee list, and I'm just going to I'll grab it all. Let's get all the way down here in the bottom. There we go. Now I want to know what's that row 10 of the list and column 3. Remember doing that? And there it is, Linda, right there, right? We did that earlier manually. So inside of this collection of data A1 to I38, which has multiple columns and multiple rows, it wants to know which row do you want and which column do you want back, and it gives us back Linda. Row 10 column 3 is Linda. I'll just hit OK, and there it is, Linda. And I'm going to copy that down. All right, now something changed in there, right? So that was the range. Let's change that. I'll just go here. I'm going to make that A1 to I38 an absolute. Just log that down, right? And I always want it to be the same range, so I just copy this down, and it should give me the Linda again. There it is, right? So let's just change the numbers. Let's say this time I want a row. Let's swap them. But I think I can't swap them. I don't have 10 columns. So let's say I want row 4 and column 4. So I got 80, right? So 4 4 at row 4, 1 2 3 4, and there's the fourth row, 1 2 3 4, there's 80, right? So this is an index function. So based on a position within your array, it's going to give you back the value. All right, there we have it, right? So now let's take a look at the match function. But you know what, let's pause right there for a moment. I'm going to let you try that out first, the index function. Get the index done, get an idea. Again, you may never use this all by itself. More often than not, right, you're going to nest it in something else or nest another function in this function. I mean, when you are going to tell it, right, oh, here are the numbers, right, row 4 column 10, right, whatever. So maybe you will do that, but more often than not, you're going to come up with some dynamic way to get those numbers. You're not going to give that number manually every time, right? So but just to get your mind wrapped around it, try that one out, right? So this is the index function found inside of Excel. Try it out, and that's what I wanted to share this today with you, the index function. Hope this was helpful and you will be doing the practice of this index function, and then surely we'll meet up in the next session. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and as I always say, if you really like this video and enjoying this journey, then please do like, share and subscribe my channel, and also press the bell icon and select it to all to get the latest content update on this channel. Alright, then we'll meet up in the next session. In case you have any questions, any concerns, then do let me know in the comment section of this video. So see you in the next session. Till then, stay safe, have a great life, and take very good care of you.